Peace is best to be understood as a negative. This is super important to understand because if we continuously look for peace or happiness as an experience, we'll constantly be led astray. Peace and happiness is not an experience. It's not an objective experience either. Peace and happiness is the lack of resistance to experience, and sometimes that may be expressed as a feeling. But the feeling is not the thing that we should be looking for, nor should it be something we focus on. The point and the goal of true peace is to be at peace all of the time. We can be at peace with anything. We can even be in peace with our suffering. Now, the logic of this is that first we understand what peace and happiness is. This is super important. Why would we not want to understand that? Peace and happiness is unconditional. So when I took my path, what I was trying to do at first was remove my suffering. I would do whatever it takes to remove my suffering. I mean, why wouldn't I? It was horrible. Who would want to not remove their suffering? I get it. I've been there. I've been suicidal, right? The one goal in my life was pretty much the trajectory of this path, which was either I will figure out a way to not suffer or I will kill myself. And lo and behold, I had to then realize that the only way to not suffer is to recognize that my suffering is not a problem. Because for as long as I believe that my suffering is a problem, it's for as long as I will believe that I have to remove it. And for as long as I want to remove it, I'm going to suffer. Because suffering is the removal of itself. It's the perpetual state of trying to remove its direct experience. That is what suffering is. So peace is going to be on the flip side of that. It's going to be to accept all things that take place. Now, when I say peace is on the flip side of that, I don't mean that peace is the opposite of suffering, in as much so as a cloud is the opposite of the sun. Resistance is merely covering, veiling, temporarily elapsing the full clarity of the light of the sun. Now, the good thing is that the eclipsing only blocks out what we could consider to be the feeling of happiness or peace. That feeling, the peaceful feeling that we get, the happy feeling that we get, resistance can block that. Now, we don't need the feeling of happiness or peace in order to be at peace or happy. Because peace and happiness is not a feeling, you see? It's the recognition of what we are, which is pure acceptance itself. It's pure acceptance. It's so accepting that it can't not accept. So it's not like a bodyguard. It doesn't stand at the door saying you can come in and you can't. I accept you and I don't accept you. It's so embracive that it has no option but to accept all things as they are. Now, accepting all things as they are is exactly what existence is. Think about this. The fact that there is existence means that by definition, it must accept all things because existence is everything on that level. Which means that for anything to exist, everything has to exist. It can't just experience some things, it has to be everything. Which means that it is already what we could call ultimate forgiveness, the forgiving everything, the freedom to take place exactly as they are. Now, we are that existence. You exist. You're not separate from existence. Your existence is not separate from the greater existence. Your existence and the greater existence are one. I and my Father are one. Atma and Brahman are the same. You are one. Your existence is the same existence as everything. Now, the quality of that existence may depend on what we believe existence is. So existence is obviously not an object. Existence is the fact that you are. It's nothing more than that. And you notice that your existence is aware. That awareness is all embracive, all accepting, rejects nothing. It's what you fundamentally are. Which means that if you see that clearly, what do you think would happen to the quality of your experience? you would begin to allow that peace of that acceptance to move into the mind, into the body, and into the world. And gradually, may not be in an instant, but it doesn't matter anyway, because we're no longer looking to change or remove our suffering. So it means nothing to us about how we feel or what we feel. What we're doing is we're seeking the truth of our experience. So if you seek the truth of your experience, everybody has that innate desire, then what's going to happen by nature is that you'll purify the desire to end your suffering. And now what you're going to do is give yourself the freedom to suffer. Any suffering that arises, you allow yourself to feel it. You don't reject it. Oh, I shouldn't feel this way. I've meditated for 10 years. Allow yourself the freedom to suffer. Give yourself that freedom. Because guess what? You've already given yourself that freedom. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had the suffering to begin with. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had the experience that created the suffering to start with. You are already that freedom. Now be that freedom instead of rejecting that freedom. That would be the second part of this process. Giving yourself this freedom. You have that power. You can give yourself that power because it was your power that created the limitation to begin with. So you can take it back. I'm going to leave it there for this video. If you'd like to learn more, I have a free community. I would love to see you there. I host meditations, book readings every single week. And yeah, I'll put the link in the description. Take care. Have a beautiful day, guys. Bye.